Hello folks, welcome back to Reality Check with Arvind Swaminathan. I know everybody is tuned to Chandrayaan 3. Yes, big news. And you wonder, how did it happen and why did it happen? Could it have happened really in UPA times? No. It's for a very simple reason. They would not allow it. I'll explain that in a little bit. Let's get back down to earth a little. What's happening on the ground here in India? Chandrayaan hopefully will touch down on the moon later on today, about 5:30 or so. But before that, let's have a little reality check on what happened during this last monsoon session of Parliament. From day one, Mr. Amit Shah, the Home Minister, said, I want and I'm ready for a debate, a full debate on Manipur. And the opposition kept screaming, Modi must make a statement, Modi must come in. Why? Is Modi the servant or house servant of these opposition people? Or should I use Mr. Derek O'Brien's language to make him understand? Who the hell is the opposition? Or who the hell do they think they are? If he can say that to Mr. Modi, the same applies to them as well. It is not up to them to demand who replies in Parliament. The government has a team of people looking into all these. The person in charge, he will do the replying. He will conduct the debate. Not Mr. Modi. I mean, if you say that Mr. Jaishankar should discuss Manipur, what would he say? It's not his fief, it's not his field. He's in charge of foreign affairs. Yes, you can ask him about that. And if you ask the government to answer, he will answer that. In the same way as anything to do with home affairs, Mr. Amit Shah will do it. Anything to do with defense, be Mr. Rajnath Singh. Now try and get that through into your thick skulls, you in the opposition. For 9 days, you did not allow any work to be conducted. By creating such a rumpus in Parliament, nothing could be done. This is a criminal waste of taxpayer money, my money. I don't want it and I don't like it wasted. The government had planned many bills to be passed, many of which weren't even looked at, thanks to you people. And then, once you got a hold of a no confidence motion, for 3 days you talked about everything except Manipur. The only reference to Manipur was one rape victim, she was frightened, this, that and the other, thanks to Mr. Rahul Gandhi. Sometimes I wonder, was she frightened because of the rape or was she frightened because of Rahul Gandhi? Worse was to follow. Supriya Sule talks about orbiting prices. Now if we really go by all this, there is an answer. For instance, about a couple of years ago, there was something doing the rounds that she had grown 10 acres of brinjals or aubergines and sold that for 117 crores on 10 acres of land. Please give me that variety. What were they? Gold-plated, platinum-lined or diamond-studded? I would like to grow them. I might make a lot of money too. So would every farmer in this country. Please. And Mr. Chidambaram and his cauliflowers, or the cabbages, on his balconies. 2 balconies, 10 crores worth of cauliflowers? Come on. Please give us the key to those. Give us seeds to those. And if you grow such crops, prices won't go into orbit, they'll go into a different galaxy. And I said, you talked about everything, dear opposition folk. except Manipur. And when the Prime Minister gets up to answer, you walk out. Meaning you didn't want to hear. Because all your silly stuff, all your stupidity and ignorance and your venom would have been exposed totally. So conveniently you walk out. I mean, is this what you're supposed to be doing? Is this what you were elected to do? I mean, there must be some limit to your ignorance and stupidity, or some limit to how low you can sink. I've told you before, Mamata Banerjee and her idea of development. When the Tatars want to make nano in West Bengal, already just about to get your plant begun, then she tells him to leave. And the nano plant goes to Gujarat. Add to that, at the height of the tea picking season, the harvest season, everybody in those tea estates in Darjeeling go on strike. Why? Demanding a Gorkha land or something? Why? I mean, you do it in winter time is one thing, but at the height of the harvest season? What was she trying to do? Destroy those workers? This is what you call development? Now, I ask you, if you want to develop a group of people or an economy or a state, do you ask them to go on strike? Do you ask them to shoot themselves through their own foot? And this you want as Prime Minister of this country? Why? Do you want a totally destroyed country? Or do you want us to become like Pakistan or Sri Lanka? Please, I mean, let's get real. Let's start thinking a little. Since Mr. Modi's BJP government took over, we've gone from this level up to here somewhere. Things are happening. Industry is coming. Startups begin. We have begun to manufacture things. And you want all that to stop? Well, the opposition certainly wants it to stop. You know why? It has been their policy from 1947 to make sure we don't grow. Any growth is shown in terms of how much money is being generated, how much you're selling, mainly because of inflation. All you do is raise prices. We've grown, see? It was only 100 crores last year, it's 200 this year. The fact that you double your sale price doesn't tell you say much, does it? It doesn't tell you how much you produced. Now, this unfortunately seems to be so deep-rooted in opposition mindset. They're doing exactly what the British did to us. Put a cap on us and keep tightening that cap to make sure we don't get out. The genie must remain in the bottle. It mustn't come out. Why? Why are they like this? Very simple. If people start thinking, they'll vote for different people. Can't tell these guys, oh, you take a hike. We don't need guys like you around. Rahul Gandhi goes to Ladakh and Leh on a motorbike, motorbike cavalcade, and then says the Chinese have occupied our land. Yes, they have. But who allowed them to? Was it not his own great-grandfather? And his grandmother? And his father? And his mother and himself? And for the first time since 1947, when the Chinese tried to come in at Pagong Lake and so on, they got one heck of a kicking and they ran back. That has never happened before. Why? Because that entire Nehru-Gandhi family has ensured that our defense services had nothing to fight with. Why? There was no infrastructure, there were no roads in the border regions, there were no airports, nothing. No airstrips, nothing. You couldn't get there. How do you get folk, armed people, how do you get equipment there without roads, airstrips? And you made sure that it didn't happen. Why? It would have irritated the Chinese. Who the hell are the Chinese to tell us what to do on our territory? Have they stopped building airstrips in occupied land or occupied territories? No. They built roads there, they built railroads there, they built airstrips there on our land, which you, Mr. Gandhi, and you, Mr. Nehru and that family have given to them. POK is still in Pakistani hands. You had two golden opportunities to take them back. You couldn't be bothered. No, leave it there. There is no national pride in you. It seems you're not even Indian, you don't care. You're doing what the British did, looting this country and putting the money abroad for their development. It doesn't help us. We are helping develop the US and Europe, while we remain paupers. That has been your policy. Now, what makes such people tick? Is your hunger or thirst for power so great that you do anything to destroy India just as long as you're in power? And the only way you can do that is to keep people in India uneducated, non-thinking, unable to get from place A to B, no contact, nothing. And as long as they remain country yokels with no thinking ability and no cash and no money, not even enough to eat, then you can rule over them. Otherwise you can't. And now you've got a new ploy. You can't do it from within India. So Mr. Rahul Gandhi, you go to the UK and you go to the US and say, what are you people doing about saving democracy in India? An open invitation for them to intervene. Why? To help you get on top and to help you, Mr. Rahul Gandhi, to become Prime Minister? I mean, do you think it is your birthright? I'm sorry. It's about time you grew up a little. Oh, I'm sorry. It's not possible for brainless people to grow up. You need a little common sense for that. And I said you go into Ladakh and Leh, you know, big smile, forgetting that the road you're traveling on was built by the BSF under BJP rule. Right up there, there's a nice airstrip. What's it called? Daulat Beg Oldie. You ensured it was unusable. Why? The Chinese would have been irritated. Oh dear, aren't we all frightened? And what did the BJP do? They made it into a fully operational base. At least we have some way of getting people there or evacuating them when they're sick or wounded. Did you even think of that? No. We don't need an army apparently, not according to your great-grandfather, and even you made that remark. I mean, what's going on? And I do realize something, that most of these opposition parties, especially the Congress, for over 100 years you have a long history of disruption, disturbing, ensuring that nothing is permitted to happen, making sure that no work can get done. You're past masters of that, veterans. But when it comes to development and growth, you never heard of it. You insist that something comes up so far and stop. You are great at stagnating every economy, ensuring that no progress takes place, ensuring that we sell only raw materials, not value-added finished goods. That is why the Silicon Valley in the US, 30% of the millionaires are of Indian origin. That is why NASA scientists, 35% of them are Indian origin. You look at any worthwhile industry in the UK or in the US or even in Western Europe, you have Indians working there. Even the Prime Minister of the UK is of Indian origin. Does that answer your question, Mr. Rahul Gandhi? Does that tell you what Congress has been doing since 1947? Congress has been trying to keep us embroiled in Hindu-Muslim rivalry. Plus, Nehru has been trying to convert India into an Islamic country. Not by act of war, but by legal means, constitutional means. I've said earlier, for instance, he put into the constitution, one, you can teach Islam and Christianity anywhere in India, but you cannot teach Hinduism anywhere. 80% of the people have no access to learning about their own past, their own heritage, and their own religion. We don't know anything about Indian history. Why? Because all we're taught is Mughal history and the British. We don't have any Indian heroes. We don't have any heritage, no past. Apparently the Mughals taught us architecture. Really? All they did was teach us how to put up tombs or mausoleums. You want to see architecture? Go south. Those temples still exist, and they have been there for centuries. You see them, you marvel at the architecture there. You understand how 80 to 100 tons of blocks of granite are put up 100, 150 feet above the ground. How did they get up there? They didn't have cranes or anything like that. You see the carvings. You see some of the features. You see, for instance, from Jammu and Kashmir right down to the south, certain Shiva temples are all in one straight line. How did they manage that? You think of the calculations done there to understand exactly where they should be. And this is a distance of over 3,000 miles. We don't know about it. For instance, who invented the zero? We seem to think it was the British or the Europeans. The numerals we're told are Arabic numerals. But if you dig back far enough, you find the Arabs took those numerals from us, and the Europeans took it from the Arabs. So, of course, it's Arabic. Mathematics, astronomy, all these things we don't even know about. Another thing we don't know, for instance, how close we were to being a Dutch colony rather than a British one. 1731, Kerala coast. A Dutch fleet came based in Indonesia. Remember, in those days, naval power was in the hands of the Dutch, not the British. They landed on the beaches, and a local king, Karnataka come Kerala, that sort of border area, He gave that Dutch fleet such a hiding. They ran back to their ships, went back to Indonesia, and never bothered to come back. Add to that one other thing. We've all heard of, Muhammad Ghori, who was beaten and chased all the way back to Persia, or Afghanistan, or Uzbekistan, by Prithviraj Chauhan 17 times. The 18th time he was defeated, taken prisoner, blinded. And he still killed him, because his marksmanship with a bow and arrow was such. He heard a sound, he could hit that target. And why did he lose? Because his own damn brother-in-law let him in. Just like Rahul Gandhi trying to bring US, UK and Europe in to interfere in Indian affairs. Now that includes people like George Soros. George Soros in one way, the Rothschilds on the other. You see, this assault on Adani, it's not just trying to bring Modi down, it's something deeper. What happened? A company in the US, GQG, they bought 13,500 crores worth of Adani stock when prices crashed. In 3 days they made 5,000 crore profit. They didn't want to sell. Why? They wanted a stranglehold on Indian industry. A couple of days ago, news came, they had invested $1.1 billion on Adani Power. And who are GQG? Closely associated with Rothschild. Almost to be said to be an agent of Rothschilds. Just like George Soros. Now you think, how has George Soros managed to remain in contact, in power, and so rich if he was dealing with the drug trade through Zelensky in Colombia? And the amount of money is made, which he is now using in Manipur for more drugs, which is being spread all over India. I mentioned, for instance, 21,786 drug smugglers on the Western Front had been arrested. What I didn't tell you was 963 of such drug peddlers and drug smugglers were caught and put behind bars in Manipur. Now, in a small place like Manipur, 963 such people? Does that tell you the size of the drug trade there? Recently, I think in Delhi, somebody was found coming from Jammu and Kashmir who had gone to Assam, and he came back with 56 kilos of heroin. Now, that's not a small amount for two people to be carrying around. That's 40 or 50 crores worth. You see, you understand the extent of the drugs trade which people are trying to spread all over India. You have to believe that this is George Soros. This is his Open Society Foundation type. To have his type of government installed in India. Oh sure, they'd love Rahul Gandhi to be there. They can get whatever they want through it. Whether it's thorium, whether it's gold mining, coal mining, power generation, technology, defense equipment, defense secrets, space secrets. And yes, we have the type of knowledge which the whole world wants, especially the Americans and the Chinese. They would love to have it. It is what has kept the Chinese at bay. The fact that they are frightened, we may have something that knock hell into them. all in the last 9 years. Until then, if anything looked like coming up, it was put on the back burner. Why? Congress mentality is such. Do not let anything grow. Do not allow any progress. India must remain a colony as it was under the British, except their colony now. Now, as far as I am concerned, these should be wiped out of our political scene. Like it or not, they are a hindrance to further development. And if we can't develop, the only way is down, not up. And I think we owe it to our future generations to give them a fair and decent chance to go further up, not down. We owe it to them to ensure they don't become another colony. Whether it's George Soros, the US people, or the Europeans again, or the Rothschild colony, or even the Gandhi family colony. We have a right to be free. It's what we fought for. It's what we've tried to do for so long. Don't throw that away. Well, folks, I hope I'm trying to make you understand that if you have negative people who know nothing about development in charge, you can't get anywhere. The old brain drain system will have to continue, which we don't want. Do we want to develop the US or UK or Europe or China or Russia at our expense? No. Our IITs and such places in the past used to train people for the US. What would they do here? Nothing. I mean, the laws that have been made here is so diabolical, especially to try and turn us into an Islamic country. It's diabolical. It's difficult to fathom. Why? When Pakistan was created for them, why do you want to turn India into an Islamic country? Are Muslims that dopey that they can't live with other people? If they can't, there are 56 other countries which are Islamic. Go there. Just leave us alone to do our own thing. If you want to stay here, be Indian. Be Indian citizens and live alongside. Otherwise, we don't need you here. Thanks, folks. Well, let's see what's next. I do hope the next general election ensures that this particular government stays and returns with hopefully a bigger majority. Because if not, we will be going backwards into time. Back into a colonialism, back in the bottle. Open it, let the genie out. I said in the last one, the sleeping giant has woken up. Give him a chance to spread his wings, flex his muscles. Then the world will see what India is, or what it was turned into, and what it can and will be again. I think we owe our generation, our future generations, that. Thank you, folks. I hope you like this one. Please subscribe, pass on, share with your friends, relatives, their groups, and please think about it carefully. Because what you think about and finally decide in 2024 will have a great deal to do with what happens to India in the future. Ciao.